Hi Opimian members, it's Jacky Blisson here, Master of Wine. Welcome to your Master's Case tasting for Cellar 302. This is the wines of Argentina, Chile, and Alsace. And we are talking today about a wonderful producer by the name of Roberto Echeverria. So this is Viña Echeverria. And they are based in the Central Valley, which is quite a large production region in Chile. It really spans from just south of Santiago in the Maipo Valley all the way down to the Maule Valley, with very famous other regions included like Colchagua, Cachapoal. These are all different subregions of this vast Central Valley. So Chile is quite an interesting country for wine production. We're just over the Andes Mountains from Argentina, and it's quite an isolated wine region because you've got the Pacific Ocean on one side creating a barrier, you've got the Andes Mountain on the other side creating a barrier, desert in one end and cold conditions in the other. And so very isolated, which is quite interesting because phylloxera has never made its way to Chile. Phylloxera, if you don't know, is this aphid, this terrible louse that feeds on the vine roots and weakens and gradually can kill a vine and devastated European vineyards at the end of the 1800s. Why is this interesting? Because a lot of Chile's greatest vineyards are planted ungrafted on their own rootstocks, and you're really getting a very authentic expression of the grape in Chile. And this is a real specialty of Viña Echeverria. They really plant a lot of the grapes for these wines ungrafted. So today we are tasting 3 wines, and really with these wines, the philosophy of winemaking here is what we refer to as low intervention. Some people like to say natural winemaking. And this really means that the grapes are hand harvested, and in the cellar there is very little to none in terms of additions. So no to very little amounts of sulfur used, wild yeasts used during the fermentation, very natural, very slow processes to make the wines. So wines made in this way, some people love them, some people are less fans. They can be a little bit controversial. They can have quite savory, sometimes rustic flavors, and they're really definitely worth trying. When they're well made, they can be beautiful, but definitely sometimes a question of taste. So we have 3 wines that we're going to taste together today. I hope you have your wines in front of you, because it's always fun to taste along together. And I think we're going to start with the Bakan. So the Bakan, they have great label art too, don't they, at Viña Echeverria? So here we're tasting a blend of Zinfandel and Grenache. And these are 2 very complementary grapes. They both have really exuberant, bright, ripe, red fruit profiles. They tend to have lower tannins, so they're softer, they're smoother on the palate. These are grapes that love warm, dry, Mediterranean conditions, and they tend to produce wines that are very ripe and jammy and forward, very smooth and easy drinking. So I'm going to grab our glass here, and it's exactly that. On the nose, I don't know about you, but I'm getting all kinds of red cherry, raspberry, red fruits, a little bit of dark fruit touch as well, and some cherry notes, but mainly red fruit. Quite ripe in their expression, really pleasant, some spicy elements coming in there. And on the palate, bright acidity, which is really nice because these are quite ripe wines, so that bright, fresh acidity brings a lot of balance. And the palate is really smooth, really rounded. This is wine I would definitely serve a little bit chilled, because it just makes those bright, fruity flavors pop a little bit more. Not cold, just put them in the fridge for 10-15 minutes, and that's going to be really nice. And it's drinking really well now. This is a wine I would definitely drink now, maybe in the next couple of years, but not necessarily wine to age for a crazy amount of time. I think this would pair with all kinds of amazing dishes. Obviously, you have all the great pairing tips in your Cellar magazine, which are always fun, super recipes in there to try with the different wines. If I was serving this today, I think kind of like a chili dish, nothing too crazy spicy, but like a nice bean chili would be really, really nice with this. Maybe some roasted, even smoky flavors there with that red fruit would be super awesome. So the second one we're going to talk about is the El Barrio Cuvée, and this is a straight Carignan 2022 vintage El Barrio. So this is really cool. Carignan is a grape we see a lot in the Languedoc region of southern France. And for a long time, it can produce quite high yields. For a long time, it was overcropped and made it quite a rustic style of wine and wasn't considered to be a very high quality grape. But actually, if it is planted on the right sites, if it is managed in lower yields, it can produce really pretty, interesting wines with a dark fruit profile, a lot of florality, and older vine Carignan can be really, really interesting. And this is the case here at Viña Echeverria in Chile. Older vines for the most part for this Carignan. So you're getting a lot of really intense, deep flavors here. So this is quite a young wine, and you can definitely see that in the color here. You have almost like a purple tinge to the color, which you get in these younger vintages. And then the color will gradually go more ruby and garnet as the wine gets older. I'm smelling this, and I have a lot of dark fruit, plum, cherry, cassis type notes. I have lovely, bright floral violet type notes, hints of licorice, things like that are really very tempting, very ripe, but well integrated on the nose. On the palate, again, that bright freshness, and really zing of acidity at the beginning. It provides nice balance. This is more of a full-bodied wine, but Carignan sometimes can have slightly rustic tannins here. The tannins are very fine grained, really nicely integrated, and the wine just has such a bright, fruity florality to it. Really, really nice for still quite a full-bodied wine, but overall very well balanced. This is definitely something that I would pair. Lamb would work really well here. That dark fruit floral note always works well against lamb. Could work with some spicy dishes, but nothing too spicy, just subtle, mild spice again. Any variety of meat really would go well with this style of wine. So again, great recipes in here to try. And finally, we're gonna try our third wine, which is the Casa Nueva, which is a blend of Syrah, Carménère, and it is the Gran Reserva. So from the Central Valley here again, quite a wide range of different soils and terroirs here, so it's hard to really specify the influence gonna have on these wines, but they're really selecting the Syrah and the Carménère from areas where the grapes thrive and produce particularly interesting results. So again, another lovely label, and Syrah and Carménère. So we just talked a little bit about Carménère, but Syrah again, a grape that has quite bold, dark fruit profile. It can sometimes have a little bit of a more firm structure, firm tannins to it. Again, lovely florality like we find in the Carménère, so there the two match very well. It's going to be interesting to see how this blend works, whether there's one grape that dominates the other or whether there's a nice harmony between the two. I love this nose. We've got a lot of dark fruit, but I love this note that for me I describe as wine gums. It's sort of like a candied cassis, black currant note. A lot of plum here as well, some black cherry, hints of floral notes, a little bit of spice. Really a very pretty, ripe, opulent nose. Again, really bright, vibrant acidity, but this is slightly fuller bodied, slightly more bold, dense wine. Tannins though, which are a bit more marked, are still very smooth, very well integrated with the wine. Little hints of cedar, slight oak notes here, but very smooth, very well integrated with the wine. This is more powerful. This is definitely a wine that would go well with any sort of a beef dish, or if you're vegetarian, really you want something bold, something hearty, you want root vegetables, you want something roasted or char grilled, something smoky, something that's going to really stand up to these flavors. So 3 wines, 3 expressions of grapes that really thrive, that do well in this Central Valley of Chile. If you try these wines and have any comments or want to know anything more about them, definitely write to us. Let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So cheers, and I hope you enjoy the wines.